Hey everyone, and welcome back to Miss Azrael's Gaming. So today we're going to jump back into TerrorFest because the new chapter is out today. We're on chapter 10. It's To Catch a Killer. It says TerrorFest rages on as a killer is caught and the truth about another is revealed. So if you remember in the last couple episodes, Lucky was murdered. And we started suspecting our friends once again because there couldn't be any other suspects at the time. But, we worked with Zaire and learned a little bit more about what they, were doing and what they're up to. And, we kind of, with the fact that Lucky got in touch with Zaire and, was like, hey, if anything happens to me because of what's going on, I need you to go to my place and delete some stuff. So that kind of led our character under the impression that it probably isn't Zaire. So we're still sus of Tyler and Coda, and honestly, I'm still sus of Zaire. That doesn't put them out of my crosshairs because of their mother being the mayor, and I think some sus stuff is going on with the mayor as well. I've heard back from a lot of you, kind of depending on the choices you make. I've heard that Coda dies instead of Lucky. I think I also heard somebody tell me that Tyson died for them as well. Just a whole bunch of different choices in this one. Like, depending on what you do, different people die. So it's definitely kind of based on your play style. So let's go ahead and jump back into it. I'm really excited to see where this chapter goes. Okay, so chapter 10, To Catch a Killer. And we also ran into that creepy guy that was from chapter 1, if you remember that. He was the one that attacked us at our house. And, we were able to unmask him. And, but he made it seem like there was more to this Stabby Joe thing than just like one killer. There has to be more than one. Okay, so after giving your statement, you step out of the precinct for some fresh air, only to be met with a swarm of reporters. Azrael, over here. Tell us about how you apprehended the killer. Azrael, is it true the killer is targeting you and your family and friends specifically? I can't speak to a motive. I'm just lucky to be alive. Now, if you'll excuse me. You turn your back, but the reporters block your way, closing in around you. Just one more soundbite. Would you back off? But they don't. Instead, they draw nearer, and as you start to seriously consider crawling your way free, you hear Detective Porter's voice over the crowd. All right, vultures, clear out. You can wait for a briefing on the investigation from my department like everyone else. Oh, he was actually a decent person then. Detective Porter pushes his way past the reporters and ushers you through the crowd and into the precinct. You breathe a sigh of relief. I never thought he'd be glad to see you. Thanks for the rescue. Don't thank me. I only came looking for you because your perp's interrogation is about to start. The mayor wants you listening for the record. Since when does Mayor Jackson care what I think? She doesn't. She cares what you're going to say. Without another word, Detective Porter heads for a small room in the back and you hurry to follow. As he pushes open the door, you enter to find yourself looking through a one-way mirror at the man who broke into your home. He looks so creepy alone. I mean, he's not creepy anymore. He just looks like alone. And the look on his face it kind of just says it all. Though every inch of you feels repulsed at the thought of him, you can't help but notice how antsy he is in the room all by himself. Where's his lawyer or his advocate or anyone? He's all alone and they're just pacing. It almost makes me feel bad for him. I wouldn't waste too much sympathy on him. After all, this is the man who killed your sister. It wasn't that long ago that you thought I was the killer. How can you be so sure now? You mean besides my gut? One look at this will do the trick. The detective picks up a thick manila envelope and opens it to a rap sheet. Meet Brian Bayun. Previous criminal record as long as my entire body, not to mention a history of trespassing, stalking, and assault. Where was this guy when I was your prime suspect? Probably in the abandoned wing of the prison. We think he's been sleeping there and at Stabby Joe's gravesite. The ground has been disturbed more than once. That would explain my swabs returning Stabby Joe's DNA. They must have transferred over when he attacked me. The detective's head snaps towards you and immediately you realize your mistake. How do you know about the DNA sample? Lucky guess? Luckily for you, the interrogation begins next door, and the two of you quickly quiet down to listen in. Mr. Bayan, if we could please stay in the present moment. But that's the point. None of us would be in this present moment without Joseph Campbell. Nobody on this damn island understands that, and those Carpenter kids are an insult to his legacy. The younger one abandoned the island, and the older one just does her ridiculous social media crap. It's like they don't care at all. Does? As in present tense? Maybe he's just a good actor, but Brian really sounds like he doesn't know Destiny is dead. I don't think he did it. I really don't. I think he's a patsy. I think somebody else did this, and he's just kind of been going along for the ride. You glance over at Detective Porter, but his expression is unreadable. I should voice my concerns. Keep quiet. I'm going to voice my concerns. Why does he keep referring to Destiny like she's still here? It's all an act. I wouldn't fall for it if I were you. But don't you think it's a weird mistake to make, seeing as he's supposed to be the one who killed? It wouldn't be the first time a killer has blanked on one of their kills. But what if you're only here because you're supposed to be listening? So either you can shut up or you can get out. Your choice. Okay, fine. I'll be quiet and I'll just listen. The harshness in his voice brings an abrupt end to the conversation, and quickly, you turn your attention back to Brian and the interrogator. So if I hear this right, you were motivated to kill by the disrespect to Stabby Joe's legacy? Wait, who did I kill again? Destiny Carpenter, Brian, you killed her. I did? You did, but we need to know about the others. What about Alan and Lucky? Were they just collateral damage in your path to the Carpenters? Alan? Is that the kid who died at the party a few days ago? What does he have to do with anything? Yeah, he doesn't know nothing. Detective, I know you think he's faking, but it really sounds like Brian doesn't know anything about this. I don't need you telling us how to do our job, Azrael. Just be patient, we'll get him. They always crack eventually. That's what I'm worried about. When I first met Brian... Shh. His rebuke is swift, and as he turns back to the officer interrogating Brian next door, your gaze never leaves the detective's face. After Alan's murder, Detective Porter was so sure it was me, he wouldn't consider another suspect, and now, all of a sudden, he's sure it's Brian? Something about this isn't sitting right with me. Could Detective Porter be the killer? But there's no way he's who I'm looking for. I mean, I don't know if Detective Porter's the killer. But there's no way Brian's who we're looking for. I'm gonna go with that one. If there's one thing I know, it's killers, and Detective Porter doesn't have the stones. He's an order taker, an underling born and bred, but there's someone who's been pulling his strings since before I stepped off of the ferry. I mean, the mayor could have basically told him, you need to pin this on Brian. I don't care what you have to do, just keep him talking, keep pounding him and pounding him and pounding him. Eventually he might just say, okay, I did it, just to get out of the room, because that happens in a lot of interrogations sometimes. They're positive it's the person, and they just pound away till the person finally says, all right, I did it, I want out of the room. It happens sometimes. Is that what's happening here? I don't know. I think it's more likely, like here we say Mayor Jackson, I think Mayor Jackson's telling him to pin it all on Brian because she wants to keep up her murdering ways. So immediately your mind goes to Mayor Jackson, the way she used her influence to cover up the crimes, her indifference to the kidnapping, her sudden interest in you now that the story is gaining traction. Horrified, you look at Brian through the one-way mirror, his eyebrows knit in confusion. What if it's all a front? Next door, the officer starts on Brian again. Let's try again. When you killed those people at TerrorFest parade, did you pick them specifically, or did they just get in your way? I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. You mean the parade the other night? Don't play games with me, Brian. We know you killed those people. The cop rises to her feet and pulls out a pair of handcuffs before walking around the table, palming the back of his head and shoving his face down with a hard thwack. And if you lie to me again, we'll keep the confession and I'll jump straight to locking you up. What do you think about that, Stabby Joe? She leans in, growling in his ear, and as the moniker rolls off her tongue, Brian's eyes sink closed, the look on his face pure ecstasy. Okay, you got me. I did it. That's more like it. Now let's talk about how. Okay, that's sus. Because he's all confused, and then just the minute she calls him Stabby Joe, he's like, okay, you got me, I did it, I am Stabby Joe. I think they knew he would do that because of how he is about Stabby Joe. Next to you, Detective Porter grins. Got him. The mayor's gonna love this. Yeah, because now she can keep murdering. But before you can finish, he turns to you, and the smug look on his face stops you cold. Congratulations, Azrael. You just caught a murderer. Doesn't feel like it. He charges out of the room and you follow, only to find your friends in the lobby waiting for you. I thought we were all meeting here. Where'd you go? Porter brought me back to watch the interrogation. The guy Brian, he confessed. Well, didn't he kind of have to? We caught him red-handed after all. Not just for the break-in, for Destiny, Alan, Lucky, all of it. Did you just see the murderer confessed? Ugh, God, freaking reporters. You whip your head around to see on one of the reporters from earlier just inside the doorway. That's going to make one hell of a headline. Before you can react, he's already flinging open the precinct doors, shouting at full volume. They've got him! He confessed! It's over! The crowd outside cheers, and as you peer through the doorframe, you see it's grown even bigger than it was earlier. Worried partiers have since joined the flock, and as the news ripples through in waves, you can practically see them cast their fears aside. Oh my God, we all survived Stabby Joe 2.0! T-shirts, get your I Live t-shirts here! And don't forget to relive the history that started it all. Abandoned prison tickets are here, folks. They're still at it. It's like they haven't learned anything. I mean, that's the thing too. If this guy really wasn't the murderer, all these people are just going to go back to doing the stupid stuff that they've been doing about Stabby Joe, and somebody's just going to start killing him again. As the words slip from your lips, a hand squeezes your shoulder and you turn to face Tyson. He leads you away from the mob outside and out of earshot, his face the picture of concern. Azrael, what's going on? You look like you've seen a ghost. The festivities ramp up outside, and as echoes of laughter and conversation reach you, all you can think of is the danger you might all still be in. I know this sounds crazy, but I just keep thinking, what if he didn't do it? What? But he confessed. I know, but think about what happened when we caught him. There was something about the way he confessed. Yeah, I mean, it's the way he did it. The officer called him Stabby Joe, and it's almost like he was happy. That's weird. But it's worse than that. When I first saw the guy, he was only interested in me because I was related to Stabby Joe. Okay, so if it's not him, who is it? That's the problem. I don't know. Maybe it's Detective Porter. Maybe it's the mayor. Maybe I've blown this thing out of proportion. And it is Brian. This whole thing has me seriously questioning my instincts, and there are too many options to know who I can trust. As you hang your head, Tyson gives your arm a squeeze. Well, you know you can trust me. Why not lay it all out for me? An outside perspective might just be what you need to narrow down the most likely suspects. You meet Tyson's smile with one of your own, and you can't help but feel a surge of hope. He might be right. Maybe if I can get everything out of my head, I'll be able to see it clearer. Okay, so slip off with Tyson to review your options, add to your fortitude score, and build your relationship. Okay, so strategize with Tyson. So of course we're going to do it. It's a diamond choice, so talking it through would really help. But not here. There's got to be somewhere we can talk in private. You stalk the halls before finding an empty conference room and pushing the door open, leading Tyson inside. Perfect. And there's even a whiteboard in here. I think the best way to start is just throw out everything and see what sticks. I can take notes while we talk. In that case, I guess we should start by listing out all of the suspects. Obviously, we have Brian. You pace as Tyson uncaps a marker and takes his place at the board, scrolling as you speak. And I think we need to put the rest of us back up there too, just to be thorough. Sure, you also mentioned the detective and the mayor, and I agree. Those two are definitely suspicious. But we can't forget about the early copycat killer that was never caught. Seriously? I thought we were looking at all of the possibilities. Fair enough. Then I think we'd better add the reporter, too. Tyson finishes the list, then steps back to look at his work. That's a lot of suspects. The easiest way to tackle them all would be in groups. Quickly, he separates the list of suspects into your friend group, the authority figures, and the leftovers. Alright, starting with us, who do you trust the least? Obviously, I trust you and me, so... Zaire or Coda? Honestly, I trust Zaire the least, and I think that's what we're answering that based off of. But I don't know. I have my doubts about Coda too, with his whole horror obsession. But the least I would say is Zaire, because I don't trust the fact that their mother is the mayor, and I feel like that could mean something. So I'm gonna go with Zaire. The fact that their mom is trying to squash coverage of the murders is a pretty crazy coincidence. She could be doing it for her re-election, but trying to protect her kid is a compelling reason too. Plus, you said they had knowledge and access to the tunnels. Tunnels that would let them sneak around quickly and without being seen. Exactly. Right, we don't know the layout, so there's no way we can be sure they've been... we can be sure they've been where we thought they were. Oh goodness, I cannot talk right now. Tyson wipes away the rest of your group and jots down your suspicions and Zaire before turning to look at you. Okay, what about some reasons they might be innocent? Well, they seem pretty determined to take down their mom, and they seem genuinely angry when we found out about their mom's involvement in all this. Tyson takes notes dutifully, pausing only once he's gotten it all down. Okay, got it. Let's do the next group. I think that would be the mayor and the detective. And between the two, I'd pick the mayor. Mayor Jackson. It's just super weird how she keeps turning up in all this. Okay, but if she's as concerned with her re-election as she seems, why risk it by killing anyone, let alone that many people? Serial murder in a small town isn't much of a political strategy, but I think there's something there. Fair enough. Without another word, Tyson swipes away the other option and replaces the name with your suspicions. That just leaves Brian, Bex, and the first copycat killer who was never caught. You turn your attention to the last group and sigh. Of these three, I've got to say, I'm not getting murder vibes. Isn't that all the more reason to check them out? The best murderers were right under everyone's nose and went undiscovered for years. You think back to Brian obsessively grabbing at you, Bex's constant sneakiness, and the general air of mystery around the former copycat killer. I guess it's not completely unreasonable to suspect them. So out of this bunch, who are you thinking? Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one, okay? I don't think it's Brian, so I'm going to take him off the list. I really don't. I think his is a whole... He wants to be Stabby Joe, but he's not. And I think he's kind of just a scapegoat. Bex, supposedly, we don't know that she's dead. So, it could be Bex. I kind of had suspicions about her from the beginning because she knew a lot about her friends. She was tracking things down about them. It seemed sus. We don't know anything about the copycat killer, other than the fact that they stopped. That's the only thing we really know. They stopped. I mean, part of me thinks maybe that was Mayor Jackson. Maybe she was the copycat killer and she stopped. So I'm torn between Bex and the copycat killer. Now, most people would say, oh, well, Bex is probably dead because we got the nose. We don't know that that's her nose. And I don't remember, I know that we had went over some information and stuff like that in DNA, but I don't remember if that was about Bex. I can't remember if we got that information or not. I mean, let me know in the comments down below if we did. I don't think we did. That could have been anybody's nose. Could have been a fake nose, or could really have been her nose, because you could do that and still survive. I don't know who the copycat killer could be. So I'm going to take out Brian. I think I'm going to go with Bex. I feel like she's kind of sus, and it's like I said, I don't think we got the information that was actually her nose. So I'm gonna go with her. I think we might have dismissed her as a suspect too soon. In fairness, we did assume she was dead, which is a pretty good way to make sure we aren't looking for her. See, that's kind of what I thought about, like, Alan and Destiny as well, but then, Alan turned up. So we know it's not him unless they're faking it, which I don't think that would have happened because I think he was decapitated, if I remember right. So you can kind of hard to fake that unless you know somebody really good with special effects, which could be Coda. Maybe they're all working in on it. I don't know. Okay, you sound like Coda. Maybe it's crazy, but if we're investigating every option, I don't think we should discount her completely without proof. Tyson jots down your thoughts, then gestures at the board. So that leaves us with our top suspects, none of which are based on any concrete evidence. You stare at the marked board until the letters start to swim before your eyes. No proof, just vibes. At this point, I'm no better than Detective Porter. One thing we know, you have that Porter doesn't is the best of intentions. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. If I'm right, an innocent man is going to jail and someone out there is going to have access to an all-you-can-kill smorgasbord, and I can't nail down a suspect. With a sigh, you turn to Tyson. What do you think? Honestly, I think it's got to be Brian. But what about that interview? Tyson shoots you a sympathetic smile. I didn't see it, but it is possible all of the running and fighting for our lives for the last few days is starting to take its toll. Brian broke into your house to kill us all. I can see how that could ruin your sense of safety, but it's over now. You're safe, Azrael. Tyson grips your shoulder in both of his hands and turns you to face his strong, unyielding gaze. I think you might be right. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I can't agree with him on that one. I just can't stop thinking about how he really seemed to think Destiny was still alive. And I wish you could have seen the way they got his confession. That's fair. Like I said, I didn't see the interrogation, so I wouldn't know. But based on what I do know, just be careful, Azrael. He's still a threat. If not to everyone else, then definitely to you. Yeah, I'll remember that. Okay, the usual suspects, you brainstorm with Tyson. You glance at the board and find a physical representation of your mind's inner workings, patiently written in Tyson's loving hand, and you feel at peace. Tyson, thank you for hearing me out on this. I know I must sound crazy. We're in the middle of a murder investigation on an island where the #1 tourist attraction is a festival celebrating a murderer. Your suspicions haven't even cracked the top 10 craziest things I've heard today. Still, it's nice to have someone I can say all this out loud to. The inside of my head is a mess. Tyson shoots you a warm look that warms you from head to toe. If the inside of your head looks anything like the rest of you, then I'm sure it's incredible. He caps the marker, and as he approaches, you realize, though you're alone together, you feel completely safe. It's a pleasant feeling, one you've grown to appreciate over the last few days, and you can't help but draw nearer, like a moth to a flame. Still, I feel like I owe you one or something. I should thank him with a hug, a kiss. Oh, we're kissing him. You take his hand in yours, lacing your fingers together without a second thought. I don't know if I could do this without you, so thank you. You step closer, leaning in and placing a soft, sweet kiss on his lips. As you melt into his warmth, you press yourself closer, reveling in the feeling of Tyson's lips opening to you. You pull back as you rest your forehead against his. He whispers to you, his breath ghosting across your face. If we have to go through this, I'm glad we get to do it together. Me too, but we should probably get back to the others now. Yeah, let me just erase the board really quickly. Tyson swipes away your notes, and feeling calmer than you have in days, you slip out of the room towards the lobby. But as the two of you make your way back to your friends, you find Mayor Jackson standing with them, waiting for you. Azrael, just the person I wanted to see. I wanted to express my gratitude for your assistance in apprehending such a dangerous man. The island owes you a great debt. Well, someone had to do something about those literal murderers on the loose. You watch as Mayor Jackson's smile fights against becoming a sneer. Be that as it may, I am very proud of you all, and I wanted to give you my condolences for the tragic loss of Lucky. I've sent the coroner to retrieve her, and her remains are being treated with the utmost respect. Respect? What do you know about respect? You don't even deserve to say Lucky's name. If that's what you'd prefer. But despite her words, her expression doesn't show any ounce of care, and deep down you feel a flame in your belly ignite. I should let her have it, play nice. I mean, look, she could make my life really hard, and I might not be able to solve who this is. So I'm going to kind of back things up. I'm going to be the grown-up in the situation, and I'm just going to play nice with it. As much as you want to give in, you take a deep breath and center yourself. I don't have time to wage this war right now. If Brian isn't the killer, every second that passes is another opportunity for the real killer to wreak havoc. And if the real killer is standing in front of me, it might be wise not to piss her off before I have proof. What my friends mean is, are we free to go? The past few days have been a literal nightmare, and we deserve some peace and quiet. I wholeheartedly agree. I'll have my driver take you home. She gestures towards the door, and as you fight against the uneasy feeling in your gut, you follow the mayor outside and right into a slew of reporters. You try to make your way through, but Mayor Jackson grips your arm, holding you in place as she lowers her voice until only you can hear. Right after you make a statement about how thrilled you are, we caught the killer. Azrael, right here, Azrael! As cameras flash and reporters start shouting questions directed at you and the mayor, you feel your stomach churn. And if I refuse? You're free to try and duck them on your own, but you know how relentless they can be. Azrael? Behind you, Tyson and Coda tug at the precinct doors to find them locked. Oh my god, this is low even for you. You have to know that confession was forced. I'm gonna go with that one. You whirl on the mayor, not bothering to hide the disgust on your face. What happens if someone else drops dead? This might not be over. What I know is that Morlake Island runs on the backs of partying hooligans who like to get drunk and spend all their money. And if you think you're going to stand between this town and the livelihood of its residents, I think you'll find yourself standing alone. And alone is a dangerous place to find yourself lately. Wouldn't you agree? Careful, Mayor Jackson. That sounds an awful lot like a threat or a confession. Take it how you will, but I'm allowing you to be the hero of this thing. Cross me and you'll regret it. For a moment you pause, looking desperately for a way out, but finding none. Fine. One brief statement, and then you call off your dog so we can get out of here. That's what I thought. She turns to the crowd of reporters, and as she steps up to the podium, your hands clenching a fist at your side. Hello, everyone. Some of you may have heard of the tragic deaths of several young people over the past few days, but I am greatly relieved to be able to tell you today that the man responsible has been apprehended. Please let me introduce the young woman who has been essential in bringing that man to justice, Azrael Carpenter. As you make your way to the podium, the mayor stops you, gripping your hand a little too tight. No matter how you feel about me, I kept this news from the public for a reason. Widespread panic won't help anyone. She lets go, moving on without giving you a chance to respond, and you can't help but think about her words. She's right that keeping the peace with a killer on the loose is a recipe for disaster, but the people have a right to know the truth, don't they? As you take the podium, reporters start shouting questions over each other. Miss Carpenter, is it true that the killer has been caught? We've heard from sources that your friends and family were the only targets. Are residents safe here on the island? You glance over to Mayor Jackson and she looks at you expectantly. I should reassure the public, tell them exactly what's going on. Oh my god. Why? Why do I get these choices? I don't want to make the wrong one. I hate this so much. Okay, so in actuality, what I think is, if you tell them what's going on, it could cause mass hysteria, mass panic. It could cause more deaths from people suspecting others of being Stabby Joe, especially with the fact that the TerrorFest is going on right now. If you reassure the public, granted, it's going to be dangerous because they're not expecting the killer, but it could cause the killer to slip up because they think they can get away with it because nobody's watching them. Even though I feel the public should know exactly what's going on, I think I'm going to reassure the public because that keeps the mayor happy. And I might be able to look into more things with the mayor. I don't know how the story's going to go, but, you know, if she thinks I'm on her side, she could, her lips might loosen a little bit. She might kind of make me believe it really is her. I don't feel like telling them what's going on is the best option, even though maybe realistically I would do that. Like if this was a real thing, I might do that. But I think I'm going to reassure the public, because I think in-game it might help me, or it could just cause a whole bunch of people to get killed. I don't know. But we're going to go with reassure the public. Okay, pivotal choice made. A fate has been sealed. See, those are the words I hate so much. With a bitter taste in your mouth, you sigh. I mean, because that could be also, if it's the mayor and I go against her, another one of our friends could end up dead. So maybe doing what she wants is going to kind of save people in the long run. Okay, late last night, my friends and I apprehended a man who broke into my house dressed as Stabby Joe. Just recently, that man confessed to the murders. It's not a lie, but it's not the whole truth either. It's the best I can do until I'm certain I won't cause widespread panic for no reason. He's definitely a loner, so there's no reason to believe he was acting with anyone else. The mayor steps back up to your side, giving you an approving nod. As I'm sure you can imagine, it's been a long day for Azrael and her friends, so they will not be available to stay for pictures. Before the words are fully out of her mouth, you drag your friends away from the cameras and reporters, not stopping until you're well out of earshot. Well, if we weren't sure before, there's no denying there's some kind of conspiracy going on here with the mayor. That's for sure. Is it just me, or did it sound like she basically admitted she could murder you with immunity? I heard it too. The problem is that no one else did, and if we're going to take a shot at the top, we need heavy-duty artillery. The detective told me that Brian had been sleeping in the abandoned prison. Maybe there's something there that could tie him to Mayor Jackson. Yeah, but there's no way we're getting in there. It's closed to the public. Damn it. You let your head hang, and for a moment all seems lost until you open your eyes. Actually, I might have a way in. You kneel to pick up a discarded prison tour pamphlet, smoothing it out enough to read the phone number on the front. Quickly, you whip out your phone and dial. Yes, I'd like 4 tickets to the abandoned prison tour, please. Oh, interesting. Later, you and your friends are waiting outside Morelic Island Maximum Security Federal Penitentiary with a group of tourists trying to blend in. If you told me a few days ago I'd be on the stupid tour, I would have gotten straight back on that ferry and gone somewhere far, far away. Just remember, it's for a good cause. Maybe. How are we supposed to do our own thing when we've got all these people around? We wait for the perfect moment. Keep an eye out for my signal. One by one, your friends nod, and you watch as the loudmouth from your rival moves to the front of the crowd. Alright everyone, I'm Artie Atkins, and I'll be your tour guide, if you just follow me. You hold up a hand, monitoring for your friends to hold off until you're all at the very back of the group. Then, no one's looking. Now. As soon as you're inside the prison, you literally beckon your friends into a nearby hallway. You silently beckon your friends into a nearby hallway, and when you can no longer hear Artie's voice, you let out a sigh. Anyone else feel that was comically easy? How are there no alarms or traps or anything? This isn't exactly a fun place to go for a walk, Azrael. Some of the tunnels lead to here, and it's creepy. You hold out a hand, sweeping it across the dust-covered walls. It could use some cleaning, but it seems fine to me. But as you take a step forward, one of the 4 floorboards bends dangerously under your weight. Ooh. Before you know it, the board breaks and you feel the ground disappear beneath you. I should throw my weight, grab hold, jump up. Throw my weight, grab hold. I don't know what I'm grabbing, but you flare your arms out, windmilling them through the air. Aha! Azrael. Without hesitation, Tyson grabs hold of you and drags you back. Are you okay? Yeah, just watch your step, guys. Some of these floorboards are a little sketchy. Do we even know where we're going? Because blindly wandering around hoping to find something doesn't seem like the best method. Coda's right. This place is huge. We need to narrow things down. If Brian was really sleeping here, he would need a bed. And if I were sleeping in the same jail as the serial killer I'm obsessed with, I know exactly which bed I'd choose. Stabby Joe's cell has got to be around here somewhere. But as you press further into the prison, you realize there's no shortage of cells, and all of them look the same. This is still a lot of ground to cover, Azrael. We need more to work with. As the four of you continue down the hallway past the locked door, an idea dawns on you. Wait, the inmates aren't the only ones in the prison. Isn't there usually an office or something for the warden? I bet there'd be a roster in there that would tell us exactly which cell was Stabby Joe's. You lead your group towards a bank of locked doors, and carefully you peer into the dark spaces looking for the one that holds all the answers. Still, it's slow going, and your friends drag under the repeated disappointment. Is it wrong that I'm starting to hope we don't find anything? Maybe then all this can just be over. Ty, I know what you mean. Thinking like that is what got us in this situation. I mean, I know what he means. Thinking like this is what got us into this situation. I mean, I know what you mean. We went from a party to being amateur PIs in a few hours, and it's not like we asked to be involved in the copycat killer's crazy plans. All I want is for things to get back to normal, but I'm starting to think it never will. You pause on your hunt and motion for your friends to gather around. Look guys, I know we're tired mentally and physically, but lives may hang in the balance. The sooner we find out whether Brian really did any of the things he confessed to, the sooner we'll be able to rest easy. And when this is over, really over, we'll make a new normal. Finally, just as you're about to admit this may not have been the best idea, Coda calls out. Hey, I think I found it. You and your friends pry open the door, and as you step inside, the desk piled with folders and rows of file cabinets against one wall give you a surge of hope. Let's spread out and start looking through everything. We may be looking for cell assignments, but you never know what might be useful. You immerse yourself in the warden's files, rifling through ledgers of the prison's accounts and rosters of the guards until... You guys, I think I've got something. You crowd around Tyson to get a look at the file he's holding. It's labeled Campbell Joseph. That's gotta be Stabby Joe, right? I think so. It's kind of hard to read. You take the paper, studying it slowly to get a feel for the handwriting. It's pretty messy, but this word here is definitely released. But that doesn't make sense. The whole point of the legend of Stabby Joe is that he escaped and killed people. Your heart starts to pound in your chest as suddenly the very story that has haunted your whole life starts to crack. I'm starting to think we don't know the whole story. Learn the truth through Stabby Joe's eyes to get the last of the legend's lore. Okay, so learn the truth. We're going to see through Stabby Joe's eyes. Now playing as Joseph Campbell. Give it up, Campbell. Everyone knows you're guilty. Your confession is just the icing on the cake. I haven't confessed because there's nothing to confess to. I found a man lying in a puddle of his own blood and I tried to help. The only thing I'm guilty of is being a good citizen. Right, of course. Never mind the overwhelming evidence against you. I didn't do it. What evidence could there possibly be? I'm afraid that's privileged information. How can I possibly defend myself if I don't even know what the evidence is against me? I guess that is an issue, isn't it? He laughs long and merciless, and you feel yourself become overcome with emotion. Look, I know you must have heard this 1,000 times, but I'm telling you I'm innocent. And I'm not the only one you're hurting. You'll never get a confession out of me. Let's go with I'm not the only one you're hurting. My wife, she's pregnant, and we moved here for a better life for our young family. She needs me. Our baby needs me. Then you should have used your words instead of your knife, huh, Stabby Joe? No. As you wail, the guard yanks you up by the elbow, leading you out of the room and into the cell, keeping you from everything you know and love. Months later, you're awoken by the rattling of a nightstick against your cell bars. Stabby Joe, front and center. What do you want this time, Danes? Didn't you hear? I want you front and center. The guard advances, forcing you into a corner as he brandishes his nightstick. Wait, please! But instead of the brutal swing you're expecting, cold metal clamps around your wrist and you find yourself handcuffed. Where are you taking me? You'll see when we get there now, won't you? He leads you through the hallways, and as fear coats the back of your throat, or the back of your tongue, you can't help the despair that floods through you. Today's the day he's finally going to kill me. Annie, I'm so sorry. I promised to protect you, and I failed. You enter a darkened hallway out of sight from the rest of the prison, and you steel yourself for your last moments, only for Officer Danes to open the door to the warden's office. Inside, a judge awaits. What's going on? Joseph Campbell, the appeal you filed with the court has been determined in your favor due to proof of wrongful imprisonment. Your sentence is hereby vacated. What? What? The judge pauses before offering a sympathetic smile. You're free to go, Mr. Campbell, with the court's apologies. Thank you. The guards lead you out of the courthouse, unshackling you on the steps. He mutters to you under his breath. You might be free from prison, but you'll never be free from me. I know what you did, and I'm going to make you pay. Before you have a chance to respond, he shoves you forward, disappearing back into the courthouse, and you hear the sweetest sound you've ever heard. Joseph! Annie! You run to embrace your wife, more visibly pregnant than the last time you saw her from behind bars. My love, I missed you so much. We'll never be apart again, not if I have anything to say about it. But Officer Danes never forgot his promise, and it ate at him until one dark night he set out to make all of Morlick Island's worst nightmares come true. Campbell's not getting away scot-free. Not on my watch. That bastard's going to pay. The guard drags a half-conscious young officer through the tunnels, dropping him into the dirt before drawing a knife and finishing him off with a vicious gash across his throat. Oh my god, I knew that Danes was going to be involved in this. Like, in the back of my head, I had this whole thing like, what if he's going to kind of like be involved? And he's killing people to plant as evidence and say that it's because he's free. He ambles through the tunnel past a trail of similarly muted corpses and emerges at a house newly built for the young family living inside. Campbell, come out and face me like a man or the whole place goes up in smoke. Inside, you look out at him, your wife by your side, shaken. Why didn't they put on some different clothes? Stay inside, Annie. Keep Clara out of sight. Hide in the cellar. I'll come get you when it's safe. Joe, I can't lose you. Please, be careful. I will, I promise. Oh my god, maybe he wasn't the bad guy that we always thought he was. I mean, it is the people, people write the history, History doesn't necessarily mean it's always true because somebody else wrote. The victors write it. I think that's like a quote, like the victors write history or something like that. So Danes would have wrote history and said it was Stabby Joe. You kiss Annie on the cheek, then the little girl in her arms, and help them down into the cellar. I'll be back soon. You close the door, then hear the guard shout from outside again. Campbell! All right, I'm coming out. I should bring a weapon outside, go out with my hands up. If I bring a weapon, that might end up bad. And he'll be like, oh, see, look, you did do it. But I don't want to be unarmed. Oh, no. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to go out with my hands up. You swing open the door, raising your hands above your head. I'm here and I'm unarmed. Now, what do you want? To let you know you'll be back in prison in a matter of hours. Better say goodbye to the family. What do you mean? My sentence was overturned. I'm a free man in name as well as in practice. Oh, I'm not talking about your previous crime. It's the one you've committed tonight you've got to worry about. What crime? I've committed no crime. The murder and brutalization of countless officers and civilians don't ring a bell? Well, the judge is going to love that. That's ridiculous, Danes. I've been home all night and my wife can vouch for it. No, she can't. Because in your bloodlust, you killed her and your little girl before I was able to stop you. Danes pulls out a blood-stained blade, brandishing it in the dim night light. It's a shame, really. Take another step and I will end you. I'd like to see you try. Officer Danes moves towards you and you plant your body firmly between him and the door to your family home. I don't know why you're doing this, but you should be warned. I'll do anything to protect my family. That's what I'm counting on. He lunges at you with a knife and you throw yourself to one side. You recover quickly, turning in time to grab the guard's arm and force him to his knees. I don't want to do this, but you're giving me no choice. You're a killer, Campbell. Don't try to pretend like you're anything less. I should grab Dane's knife, knock the knife out of Dane's hands. I'm gonna knock the knife out. You swing your fist at his wrist, knocking the knife to the ground a few yards away before blocking his path to it. I'm sorry, but I won't let you hurt my family. You're not gonna let me do anything. You're going to watch. Danes lunges for it, and immediately you fall on him in the hope of subduing him. It doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to do this. Give up, Campbell. I won't stop until you're rotting where you belong, in the prison cemetery. I'm never going back to that hellhole. The two of you grapple with each other, neither one able to get the upper hand until finally you muster all of your strength and pin Danes down with your weight. I have a family, people who need me, and I would never do anything to leave them, so why do you keep trying to make me? Because for the moment I looked into your eyes, I saw the evil in you. You don't belong in this town, and I'll do whatever I have to save the people of Morlick Island from you. Even if it means killing them. Whatever it takes. His eyes flicker to the knife between you, and at once, you know he'll never stop. In perfect sync, you each lunge for it. No! But your palm finds the handle, and with one quick slash, you slide the blade across his neck. I'm sorry, but I have people to protect too. Ugh. Officer Danes tries to form words, but it's too late. He falls to the ground dead, his blood soaking into the island he loved in all the wrong ways. Darkness came to light. You learned the truth about your ancestor. In the warden's office, you fish out paperwork for countless lawsuits for libel and defamation, both from your ancestor and later his estate. Know your history. You collected all of the Stabby Joe lore. These are all against filmmakers, production companies, newspapers. Anyone who dared to mention the name Stabby Joe. And it looks like he won every case. The lawsuits go right up through my grandfather. My dad is the only one who didn't stand up for him. Instead, he signed away the rights for the movie to be made. I found his records right here. Joseph Campbell, sentence overturned. Your ancestor wasn't a monster. He was just protecting his family, Azrael. I can't believe it. Guys, Stabby Joe, Joseph Campbell was innocent. Oh my God. Oh my God. I did not see that coming. What a freaking twist on this game. This story. I don't even know what to think right now, because we've assumed all the worst about Campbell, because when we watched, we spent diamonds to watch that movie, learn more about him. It was all in a negative light, and it turned out he didn't do any of it. And Danes, who believed he had murdered people, went against everything, just everything. Murdered officers and apparently other people to pin it on him and put him in jail because he felt like he belonged there. Oh my God, I did not see any of this coming. Okay, so the next chapter is Dead Wrong. Being wrong has consequences and sometimes casualties. Plan accordingly. I wonder if Danes has any ancestors. We don't know. I don't remember if he was married. I don't think that was ever brought up. Or if he just had any kids. What if it's his ancestor that's doing all this? Because of the hatred that they have towards Campbell, which would be our ancestor. Oh, now I just have so many questions. Choices, why are you doing this to me? I hope you guys enjoyed that chapter as much as I did. And, are you as confused as I am right now? Let me know down in the comments where you think this is heading. I'm starting to think that maybe it's a bad blood type thing, and maybe it's an ancestor of Danes who's doing all this, because they just feel that Stabby Joe didn't get what justice he was supposed to have against him, even though he didn't commit any of the crimes. But then who did? Why did they think he had murdered a bunch of people? So, there's just tons and tons of questions. So like I said, leave me a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this chapter. Please leave me a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Bye.